Welcome back once again to Seed Time and Harvest, where we've been having these special broadcasts because of the emergency situations that we have found ourselves in.
Right.
During Hurricane Irma and all these calamities that are taking place. We want to be ready for what is happening.
Yes.
What is happening.
That's right. And we want to share with you today, you know, we talked about how to get running water, make your water purified in order to be safe for consumption. We also talked about how to have light in your home and using simple things that are already in your home to be able to make a meal.
Right.
Now, what happens after the disaster strikes? You know, some people were out of power for weeks. Some people in some countries still do not have electricity. So how do we prepare long term? We know after it rains, you can't really go outside to do anything. So we showed you what you can do while you're in the house. Now, we're going to show you how you can use things that you can find within your environment to be able to prepare food and have a source of warmth if you're in a cold area, and, you know, get a form of light.
Right, and we're going to base it off the same principle that we looked at last time, and that is that we have to cooperate with the Lord.
Yes.
He will take care of us, but we have to cooperate with Him. Just like the people in the wilderness, they had to go out and they had to pick up the sticks.
Yes.
They had to build the fires so that they could bake, so that they could seed. And so we saw that in Exodus 16.
Yes. Now, did you want to go ahead and read the scripture, or do you want to just get into it?
We can read the scripture.
Okay.
In Exodus 16:23, it says, "And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said, Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and seethe that ye will seethe, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning."
Yes.
And so the Lord told them that they needed to bake and seethe. And in order for them to bake and seethe,
they need a fire.
They needed a fire.
Yes. And just to relate our experience, during the hurricane, of course, we had a lot of rain. We weren't able to go outside. But prior, we had made some preparation that came in very handy throughout that time of crisis. As you can see, right next to you is what we used to be able to make pancakes. We made rice and beans, and we prepared a variety of dishes just with this charcoal grill. Now, this is very simple. If you're not able to, of course, we always like to go on a budget. If you're not able to, this is a simple grill that you can pick up at Walmart for about $13 or $14, and you can get some charcoal. And with this, all you need is some, what type of fluid is it that you
Igniter fluid.
Igniter fluid.
Yes.
Yes. You can use that to start your fire. Or in how we did it back home, we get some plastic, we lit the plastic and let it drip. Now, many people may not want to do that option, but if possible, you can get some igniter fluid and you can start your charcoal to be able to prepare food. You even the boys grilled hot dogs, like the veggie dogs, on the grill. So that was really fun.
The challenge is always getting the fire started.
Yes.
And you know, they have these small igniters that can be used. And then you can also put small straws or sticks or grass inside that are already dry.
Yes.
And you can ignite them by using this
spark
igniter stick here. And so this comes very handy when you're in the wilderness.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind. If you find something like this, you can find it in any store where they sell camping materials.
Right. And so along with this option, what is another option that many folks use to be able to prepare
Well, you
food?
know, I was talking to some of my brothers here, and because we did most of us lost electricity, and I was hearing a lot of stories, and some of the ideas that we got from today were from them, and one of them was a brother was using propane stovetop.
Yes. Okay. So you can use a propane container or a propane grill.
Right. They used a propane burner, and we have something similar. Let's show them.
Propane is right over there. Here is a propane grill that we were able to pick up just to demonstrate different ways that you can be able to have food throughout a time of crisis. Now, this is very simple, and it's very inexpensive too, that you can pick up at your local store. if you don't want to be concerned about, getting charcoal, or if you're in an apartment, this is something that may be the safest option for you.
Right. This would burn definitely a lot cleaner. I wouldn't necessarily recommend cooking it indoors. This is for outdoor use. But it definitely is a lot cleaner than using your barbecue grill and the regular method that most of us know how to cook without.
Okay, if you can hold it down for me. Okay.
So make sure that you get your propane in at the right angle.
Right, you don't want to use any tools because, of course, there's gas in this, so you don't want to break it. All right?
So you can pick one of these up at any hardware store or any place like that they may sell barbecue burners.
Yes. So this is very simple. All you do, you have your igniter, your output valve right here. So we're going to add the fire underneath.
And just like that.
Just like that, you light it up. You turn, and this cooks faster than the stove.
And you can adjust your fire however you want. You can set it to low, medium, or high.
Yes.
Depending on the amount of propane that it's using. And so this is an excellent way for you to cook. You can put a couple of pots on top of it, or you can put something, corn or anything, right on top of the grill there.
So it's nice for, pancake, a nice griddle for veggie burgers and things like that. Now it's recommended that you at least allow it to warm for 6 minutes before use. So this is a very simple way. So these are things that you can store up for a time of crisis.
Right, exactly.
All right?
Exactly. But you know what, Charisse? What happens if I don't have a burner, if I don't have a barbecue grill? Am I not going to be able to cook anything?
No, you will be able to use the things that are available in your environment to be able to get food. Now, back home, this is something, I grew up in Jamaica. So a lot of the times we used gas. So if the gas runs out, we would have to go out and we would get sticks, logs, anything we can find to be able to start a fire. And it's very easy. All you need simply are 2 blocks, something to keep your fire together. As you can see right here, 2 blocks that we have, and a grill to put on top. And it's the same principle as a grill, but you're using this with sticks. So you just get your logs, whatever you can find in your wood, something dry, and you will start it with, you want small chips to be able to start your fire. Bird's nests are excellent for starting fires. If you have an igniter fluid and you have bird's nest or dry grass, this is very good to be able to start a fire with. So you're just gonna get your logs. You can either use a match to light it, or if you have dry grass, you can use your flint to be able to get a spark. Now, with the flint, you have your prepared surface. Now, this is just for demonstration, but of course, if you're gonna cook, you would need something a lot bigger than this. And this metal is where you would rest your pots. Now, to make your fire, you have with your flint, if you don't have if you don't have a match or a lighter, on your prepared surface, you would just make the spark going down until you get a light.
Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to gather sticks. So we want to show you what we did. We actually did this very same. Charisse, didn't you grow up using this method?
I sure did. And to me, it cooks better because, having the food that's smoked flavor, to me, it's better. If
and
you
so
want to
here I am. I'm in the backyard here in our woods, picking up leaves and sticks and whatever I could find that was dry and putting it in this bucket because we are going to start a fire.
Yes.
And so anything that's dry, especially the straws, to start, like we were saying, the straws and the smaller sticks would be the ones that would catch the fire
faster, yes.
And then the bigger logs that you see
they
here
would last longer.
to sustain the fire.
Yes, exactly. So the smaller ones are used to start it, and then your larger logs are used to maintain the fire for as long as you need. Now you can adjust this to make as wide of a fire as you want. Growing up, we had a lot of people in our home. It was like 13 of us, plus we always had to cook extra because somebody was always coming to your house that evening to eat.
So let me ask you, Sharice, you use this method to cook for how many people?
Sometimes hundreds, yes. Because what we did was we had the metal barrel, and you would cut the metal barrel in half, and that would be on one side of the fire. And then on the other side of the fire, you have 3-4 pots cooking something different. So we made big fires, especially if there's a gathering. You don't want to run out your propane. You don't want to run out your gas. So collecting sticks and making a fire, that was the easiest thing to do. Now, for rainy days, what we did, we always had a pile that we collected extra and we stacked, put it under a tarp so that if it rains, we could get logs to have a fire at that time.
So that means that we need to get your information. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to see how Sharice and I were able to do this.
Yes.
In our next presentation here, we see that I'm preparing the land. Grandma's in the back. She's helping us out too. And we're getting ready to prepare for this fire that we're about to make. So these are the sticks that I gathered. And Sharice, is there any method that you're using?
Not necessarily. Of course, as we mentioned, you start with the smaller sticks first, as they will start the fire better. You can use dried leaves, dried paper, and with the same flint, you can use it to get a spark to be able to get your fire going.
Here you have the smaller things on top. So that was the technique that you used, because this was going to catch the fire. And then you had the sticks underneath. So as the ashes are falling into it, those are also catching on fire.
Yes.
And then afterwards, you're adding more fuel to that fire because you want to make sure it doesn't go out.
Right. So the bigger sticks will go on afterwards because that's going to maintain the fire. And you want to make sure that you do not crowd your space when the fire is starting, because it needs oxygen for the fire to go.
And so just like we demonstrated here on the table, you see the same type of stove that we made here for you to see. And then we have our pot. And here you can see that the fire is really catching, and that thing must be hot. It must be hot.
Another thing I want to mention, if we think about forest fires, how do forest fires start? You know, people are driving down the street and they threw a bottle out the window, and that bottle becomes a hazard. Just like a magnifying glass, bottles can be used in the sun to be able to get a spark and start a fire. You can use a magnifying glass as well. So these are things you could add to your emergency kit.
Yes, very true, very true.
You know, your flint, if you are able to find one, your magnifying glass, or even a clear bottle. These are able to start.
And here you have the water is boiling up. So you can see how hot it is. And underneath there, you have your banana or your plantain.
We were roasting plantain.
And that roasted plantain was delicious. I don't know if you tried some.
Yes. Another thing I want to mention too, growing up, what we did, we used to run what we call boat. So what happened was our parents would go out. During the day, they would have to work. So when we get home from school, generally there's no food. So you have to use whatever you can find to be able to cook. And we cooked in juice boxes. I don't know if you're familiar with juice boxes, like the carton box, the juice cartons. You can cook, like you'd boil jackfruit seeds, you'd boil dumpling in boxes. The thing is, half of the box has to be away from the direct flame, and it has to be covered to the extreme top. I'm not sure if we added that.
No, we didn't. But you have to be very skilled to be able to do that.
Yes, to cook in a juice box, but it's possible. So if you're in a straight place and you want to be able to provide for yourself, try different methods. Some may work, some may not. But
and the thing is, you also want to make sure that you have that juice box or whatever it is, because it's going to be easy for it to break full of the water.
Yes.
If you don't have it full, it's going to catch.
Yes. The top of it is going to start burning.
Right.
So these are simple things that you can use to be able to prepare for a time of crisis, to have food, to have water, to have light,
Right.
you know, warmth. If you're in the snow, you can get some sticks and you start it. You know, so simple things that you can use to make sure you're prepared for a time of crisis.
And as you saw, these are just some of the ways. There's many more ways. Use your creativity. Use what you see other people are doing, and learn from it and build on it. You always want to learn as much as you can. We need to get ready for the crisis.
Yes.
We need to be learning. I remember they used to teach us, you know, how to prepare by going out into the wilderness and fending for yourself. But let's go back to that and let's learn again how we're going to get ready for these times.
Yes, go outside, collect some sticks. Don't worry about the spiders because they're not concerned about you. You know, just go out and get your hands to the plow because the day is going to come when you're going to have to. Make the preparation now so that when you're forced to, it will be easier for you. You already have adapted to it, so it will be no problem going out, starting a fire without a match, gathering wood, and be able to prepare your own food.
And I hope you enjoyed this special edition of Seed Time and Harvest, where we're getting ready for a crisis that is coming, and it is coming.
Yes.
So until then, happy planting.
Happy planting.